Have you ever seen one of those videos that damages your faith in humanity? I'm not talking about that, where you go, oh, I've lost my faith in humanity. Like, it actually damages your ability to believe in the ultimate goodness of human beings. I saw one of those videos today. I really wish I hadn't, but I mean, I suppose one can't really run from unpleasant things if one wants to progress. But yeah, I mean, I won't go into details or even link the video, honestly, because it's fucking depressing. Look up Memology 101 on YouTube if you're really interested. They've got an entire playlist of events specifically around New York and that area. Like, I don't know where in New York or anything like that. I don't live there. I don't recognize the areas. But, wow. But yeah. So this has gotten me to thinking. What can be... Is there anything that we even can do about this? That's ridiculous. It's kind of... I have no words. Essentially speaking, it was a couple of videos, right? One of them involved someone being heavily wounded, walking around with a sharp object embedded in his skull. Another one was one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen done to a homeless person in my life. And I mean, people already treat homeless people like dirt. Another was deliberate firebombing of an innocent family in their home. For what? For exposure? For tweets? For fucking ideological purity? I don't fucking know. I don't fucking care. This isn't fucking acceptable, assholes. But yeah. So, I mean, what's the root cause of all this? What's the end goal of all this? I don't know if these people had any end goal or actual cause to fight for, or if they were just being violent for the sake of it, taking advantage of the chaos in the general vicinity of the US and, well, admittedly the world, to do whatever it is they want. But yeah. So, do I blame anything for this, I guess, besides the individuals? I guess that's one area I could start. What is the probable cause of all this? Twitter, I guess. I don't know if I'd blame Facebook or YouTube or anything like that so much. They don't tend to result in as high a level of hysteria or insanity. But Twitter just, it is mobthink in digital form. Simply signing onto Twitter seems to switch off some part of the human brain that is ultimately necessary for us to progress and grow as human beings. People who spend a regular amount of time on Twitter, well, they seem to lose touch with reality, and that's one of the nicer ways to look at it. Other people just actively turn into insane exposure vampires who need nothing more than, or who want nothing more than to validate themselves in the court of public opinion. And they encourage and commit ever more extreme acts in order to get their 15 minutes of fame, to get their fucking dopamine hit. I mean, seriously, can't you just do fucking drugs or something? I don't know. Drink a beer. Smoke a joint. Have a fucking cigarette. It's probably healthier for you in the long run, at least mentally speaking. But yeah. And on top of all this, people are just straight up ignoring the threat of COVID, or going hysterically far in the opposite direction in terms of overreaction. I mean, extreme lockdown has been demonstrated as ineffective at dealing with COVID, but many countries and governments, including my own, are doing it anyway, insist on doing it anyway, despite mounting evidence that it's not really helping, and that more effective practical measures need to be taken than just locking people in their own fucking homes. I mean, seriously, that's definitely a significant, let's call it, exacerbating factor when it comes to this violence that's spiking throughout the world, is people can't agree on how dangerous COVID is. People can't agree on whether we should try and just live relatively normally and minimize the risk, or whether we should all go hardcore until there's a vaccine. You know, it's that lack of willingness to, I wouldn't say it's a lack of willingness to try, but it's a lack of care about anything that doesn't affect our own little circle of interests. Like the wealthy and the middle class, who are all screaming and crying about how depressed they are in their homes. I mean, that can be even myself to some degree. I'm relatively comfortable. They don't really give a shit about the starvation or the inevitable rise in crime. They just care that they can't get their fucking lattes, you know. I mean, I'm going to put it straight out there. I'm not a communist. In particular, fuck the CCP, fuck Xi Jinping. And I will say this publicly. I'll say this to the dude's face, even though I'll be shitting my pants. Like, capitalism may not be a great system, but it's better than one which forces people to the lowest common denominator of achievement and prosperity. I'd rather have highs and lows than some kind of mediocre flat line for the entirety of humanity. But after seeing that video today as well, even that's a little bit shaken, because the lows to which we will go are ridiculous. But that's not even capitalism, that's just individuals taking advantage of a reduced law enforcement presence, whether the system in America was capitalist, communist, or fucking a theocracy or something. It wouldn't make a difference, because this is pure anarchists of the worst kind who are acting out their fantasies of being some kind of Joker figure, I guess. Like, we can't really blame Joaquin Phoenix's Joker for this kind of behavior. That was not even unfortunately, it was a good movie from all I've heard, but that, I feel, is more predictive than causative of the current violence. You know, it was simply saying this is where things are going. It wasn't saying or encouraging people to do it themselves. But people have taken the wrong message from that. People are saying, yeah, now it's my time to throw my toys out the cot. It's my time to throw firebombs in homes. It's my time to be an asshole. But I don't know. This is just a very tired, very disjointed, completely unscripted kind of rant. So, just take my opinion with a very large truck full of salt. And try and be nice to everyone else, please. Like, if there's no police around, please don't go reassigning property. If you hate someone, no matter how much, don't go and attack them or be violent. I mean, unless they are actively working against your interests, the best way to deal with that is just fucking ignore them. They aren't worth the time or effort, and it's easier just to push for improving your own situation, for achieving your own goals. Hating people because they're better off than you, or because they're worse off than you, or anything like that is futile, honestly, because with the best system in the world, it's still ultimately up to me or you or whoever is in a given situation to take advantage of any opportunities to do what they can. And there will be great people who can take even the worst of life circumstances and turn it to their advantage, and there will be people who can be born with a golden or fucking diamond spoon in their mouth and lose it all by the time they reach 40, just having money or affluence or wealth or a large number of followers or anything like that doesn't guarantee in the slightest that you will have that later down the line. Only one's own foresight and willingness to actually continue working to retain it will do that. But I don't even know where I'm going with this at this point. It's really just, as I say, a completely random rant that's born of the utter frustration that video caused inside me. And as I say, that it's a horrible video. Like, I've seen people getting shot in videos from the favelas. I've seen accidents and crimes happening locally that are, I haven't been through the life of a beat cop or anything as horrible as that. Like, those guys see some shit. But I've seen a little bit of the nastiness of what the world has to offer, and that's still this memology video. It shook me, seriously. People are capable of being such monsters, so maybe ultimately why I'm putting this up is I just want to ask people is, are we really like that? Are we really so low that we would fucking bomb a homeless person for our own amusement? The old current year argument, I guess, comes up here, it's like, shouldn't we be better by now? Have we not learnt anything from the many, many, many atrocities of history? Did we not learn that, burning people to death or shooting people or stabbing people or stealing their stuff is bad from all the times it's been done, historically speaking? I guess not, ultimately, because most people aren't all that aware of history. I mean, even I'm only a very casual study of it, and well, you see, that actually means there's even less excuse. Even as a casual study, I've seen how terrible things can be if humans don't control themselves, don't take the better path of their own free will. I've learnt from, mistakes of the feudalists. I've learned from the mistakes of guys like Stalin or Hitler or Mao. They will not succeed because fundamentally you can't you can't push the most evil parts of human nature and expect it not to rebound on yourself, basically. So ultimately, wouldn't it be better to push for and express the kind parts of human nature, the good parts, the parts that bring joy to ourselves and others? Can't we push those instead? Because by encouraging everyone to bring out their inner goodness, by encouraging everyone to help each other, it only encourages them. All it does then ultimately is encourage them to do the same for you or for those around you. It's not even a matter of reward, it's simply a matter of, if you set a good example, people tend to follow it. So yeah, well, this thing's hit over 15 minutes. I'm just going to call it here. Maybe I'll try and do a slightly more scripted kind of version of this, but honestly, just be better, people, please.